Okay, certainly not the outcome or the start to the conference that we wanted, but if you're at the game, you can see we're gaining on it. Lots of good things out of that game. I think number one, the defense has been outstanding. Really, continuing to get better, continuing to improve. We challenged them with stopping the run against a really good running back and a great offensive line, and holding them to under 100 yards was fantastic. Under 3 yards a carry was really well done. And that was, we probably had more missed tackles this week than we've had in the last couple of weeks. But as expected, when you're playing against guys that can make you miss and can break tackles, that's going to happen. But we're playing really good team defense right now. Up front, we're setting walls. We got great edges. Linebackers are flowing fast. They're finding creases. They're being gap sound and they're making the front right. And just overall, I was really pleased with how that side of the ball is done. Probably one of my favorite plays of the year was a 4th and 1 stop where we're all ganged up, ready to stop a quarterback sneak or an off tackle run, and a little trick reverse. Joe Hall comes out of nowhere and knocks the guy out of bounds short of the line of game. But that play, I think, is really what we're striving to be as a team. So how can we get special teams to continue to improve, to eliminate some of the mistakes that were made in that phase. That probably was, one of the disappointing things, in game with just, some of the penalties and self-inflicted wounds that we had. Those could have definitely been avoided. I'm okay with being the most penalized team in the country if all those penalties are aggressive plays, and the concentration, the self judgment, the self-controls, those penalties, we got to clean up, and we're addressing that and continue to work on those things. But just offense, we're still not there yet. We're still trying to find ways to run the ball. The great teams defend the run well. We've been doing that. The great teams cover kicks well. We've been doing that. But then how can we find a run game? We just haven't had that, and so the offensive line, at times you can see that they're coming along and they're making progress. Sometimes those backs are creating and making guys miss and getting tough yards, but at the end of the day, for us to generate yards on the ground, we had to run our quarterback. And while I'm not opposed to doing that, I don't want to make a living of that. I think when you do that, it just makes it's just like playing Russian roulette, and it's just a matter of time before the quarterback gets hurt. It's going to affect his performance. But that side of the ball, we're continuing to look in the mirror, myself included. How can we be more productive and give ourselves a chance to win? Because only scoring 14 points is just going to be really hard to do in our league, especially with the talent that we see on offense that we face every week. So